each line lies another line. Overview. During the winter solstice, the Imperial prognosticators have identified 3 potential opportunities to use a major conjunction to send large numbers of Imperial heroes to locations in the Western Empire to fight the Jotun. All 3 conjunctions take place on Sunday morning. The Imperial Military Council will choose between them, and which nations will be involved during the muster on Friday evening. The Freezing North. Battle. The recent raids against the Jotun's holdings in Skalarn have badly damaged their military strength and secured a raft of benefits. The Kongigor, the network of hidden routes across the shifting mudflats that connects Narkist and Kalsi, has been disrupted for now, preventing movement across the gullet. The Jotun are currently unable to resupply and reinforce their armies until the spring equinox. The Empire has an opening to create a spy network in the far west. And there is a network of Imperial spies and scouts fanning out from Greenwall to provide detailed reports that help to improve the success of any future invasion of Greenwall for the next 9 months. These hammer blows have thwarted the Jotun, enraged Queen Ursa, and upset the careful plans of the Jarl of Kirheim. As the winter solstice approaches, a council of the Jarls has dispatched Isa Winterborn, the Shield of the Pass, a human Yagara from the west of Kalsi, to smash any resistance in the Greenwall and root out any Imperial spies. The threat posed by this force imperils the existence of the spy network in Skalarn, as well as removing any military advantages the Empire currently has should armies move over the border from Semasuak or Kalavesa. The Jotun force is accompanied by a host of autumn heralds, some resembling strange creatures of that realm, and others appearing no different to high-lineage Cambions, servants of the Forge Mistress or the Prince of Shikal. These constructs and heralds are marching with stoic purpose and determination, quite apart from the ferocious advance of the orcs they side with. Among their number are brass-skinned constructs of war, glittering mages in their battle panoply, and champions carrying finely crafted magical weapons and clad in shimmering plate. It appears that following the raid on Steelweaver's Crucible and the rescue of a squirming maggot who had looted the foundry, a lieutenant for the Forge, the Blade Quencher, has been dispatched from their work and sent to accompany the orcs into battle. There is a major conjunction of the Sentinel Gate to Jarlsward on the Sunday of the solstice. Objective: delay the Jotun advance. Hold the defences against the Jotun advance, preventing the Jotun breaking through until 1 hour has passed. Delaying the Jotun advance will prevent the Imperial spy network in Skalarn from being exposed and destroyed. Isa and her forces have been tipped off to the presence of the spy network at Greenwall, and are moving decisively to seize the area, capture the Empire's spies and destroy the network. The Imperial spies are preparing to flee, but they won't make it in time without help. The Empire has a short window in which they can block the advance of Isa, her Yagara, and the heralds of Estavus' host. If the heroes of Anvil can reach Jarlsward, then they will be able to make use of an old village palisade as a line on which to marshal their forces. The rotten timber remains could barely be described as a defensive line, or even a fence, but determined warriors may be able to make good use of it to anchor their strength. They will need to deploy rapidly to reach the defences and dress their lines before the enemy arrives. Once in position, the line will need to be held for an hour until midday. By this time, the spymasters and confidants threatened with obliteration will have been able to retreat. The Jotun know that time is against them. If the Empire can hold them for an hour, they will know the observation network has been lost. Isa will order the Jotun to make an ordered retreat from the field. Should the Jotun be defeated, then the Skalarn spy network will remain hidden from the Jotun. It will continue to provide an opportunity for military units to gather information on the territory in future, provide tangible benefits for any Imperial armies invading Greenwall. They will need 1 fewer victory point to take the territory, and enable the Empire to extend their intelligence-gathering operations into any territory in Kalsi at a cost of only 5 weirwood for each additional network. If the Jotun are victorious, or the opportunity is not taken, then the spy network will be destroyed and any benefits provided will be lost. The Jarl of Kirheim will use the intelligence gained from the compromised network to root out the spy network in Tromsø and destroy that commission before it is even completed. Objective: destroy Blade Quencher. Killing the Estivus Herald will prevent the Jotun building a fane on the Empire's borders. Accompanying Isa is a powerful herald of Estivus named the Blade Quencher, along with a host of lesser heralds and other servants of the Forge Mistress. The Greenwall spy network is located near the Well of Whispers, a strange tunnel complex under Moroc's Hill that is notorious for the way you can hear snatches of voices from miles around as you wander through the passages. Blade Quencher is planning to occupy the well after the spy network is dealt with. It is impossible to be certain about Blade Quencher's ultimate purpose, but the wells are already being prepared for his arrival with large shipments of white granite and weirwood to the area that suggests a major construction of some kind. The site isn't suitable for a fortification. You put castles on hills, not under them, so presumably it is something to do with the Regio itself. It is likely the Jotun intend to construct a fane of some kind, or at least their equivalent, and that Blade Quencher plans to take up residence there. The Jotun don't use much powerful magic, but they do negotiate with Eternals and obtain powerful boons from them. They have used these fanes in the past to negotiate with the Lion of Summer to field her elfin knights alongside their own soldiers, and with the Lady of Frost to receive her aid. The existence of magic like Hammers of Fury demonstrates the kind of aid this powerful Autumn Herald might provide. The Well of Whispers is far from the only Autumn Regio in Scalan, so the location of a powerful fane right on the border of Semasuak does not bode well. Destroying Blade Quencher would prevent that happening. The forces of Estivus Host, under the leadership of the Blade Quencher, are well equipped with magical provisions, enchanted items, and armour that makes them significantly stronger than many of the Jotun they are marching with. Whilst they pose an additional threat to those they encounter, there is also the opportunity to recover any magical resources and items they may be in possession of. The Towering Pines Battle. All of Liathavan, from the far western tracts of endless forest to the more frequented eastern glades bordering the Morn, now lies under Jotun control. The enemy are present here in great number. Among them is Igja Olgafsdottir, daughter of the Jarl of Tromsø, regarded as one of the Jotun's foremost minds when it comes to engineering and siegecraft. Her keen eye, logician's mind, and silver tongue combine well as admirable traits to devise solid redoubts, ascertain a castle's weaknesses, or encourage those under her command to take on hard labour with a keen heart. Despite the loss of the fortress in Tanikipari that still bears her name, her star continues to rise among the western orcs, and there is speculation that she is a future choice for a general of the Tower of the North. Igja has brought her warband to Liathavan, following in the footsteps of the thousands of Jotun that have advanced eastwards through the north of the territory. Wagons bearing blocks of white granite have been seen moving from Hordaland in the west. Within a day of her arrival, the thralls under her command begin to throw up earth berms and prepare small barricades to offer basic protection. So swiftly do her underlings toil that within a week of their arrival in Broker's Wind, foundation works have already been prepared, and groundwork laid out for a much larger network of basic wooden defences. Given the supplies en route, it is clear the Jotun are preparing to lay down the foundations of a fortress under the eaves of Liathavan to consolidate their gains. A major Jotun fortification in Liavan's Glen bodes poorly for the Empire. It would secure the territory, allowing the Jotun to move forces through the woods without fear of attacks by the Valorn or the Feni. It could act as a springboard for a potential attack into the Mornwald or Karaman. Even if the Jotun didn't intend to invade from there, raiders could steal over the border to threaten the important mines and quarries in northern Karaman. Of course, it would take a great deal of time to build a fortification, but it appears that Igja has a plan to deal with that too. There is a major conjunction that leads to the Broker's Wind in Liavan's Glen, Liathavan, on the Sunday of the winter solstice. Objective: destroy the stockades. Destroy the stockades under construction in Broker's Wind. Each stockade destroyed will delay construction of the fortification by 1 season. Destroying all 3 within quick succession will allow Jaehaerys to attack the Jotun in Liathavan. Shortly before the summit, representatives of the Moonsilver Prince approach the Empire. They claim that their patron's rival, the Mistress of Blizzards, is aiding the Jotun, and has provided Igya with 3 great keystones, which will allow her to construct her new fortification with astonishing speed. They claim that the Unicorn Prince wishes to see the Empire triumph over the Jotun, and thus he offers this information in the spirit of cooperation and friendship. Reports confirm that the principal foundation work consists of 3 stockades, erected around white granite keystones put in place by the workforce. These foundations bear similarities to Oglafsdottir Hall, where they are crucial to the sound building of that monstrous fortification. However, they are clearly magical in nature, bearing the touch of the immovable one. Unless something is done, Igya will be able to complete her new fortification with terrifying speed. By utilizing the conjunction to Broker's Wind, the Empire could strike against Igya. A ritual casting of either rising roots that rend stone or inevitable collapse into ruin would be sufficient to destroy a keystone, preventing Igya from incorporating it into the completed fortification. The prognosticators calculate that with Cathan Kane's help, the fortification will be complete in a single season. Each keystone which is destroyed will delay the completion by 1 extra season. If all 3 are annihilated, then the fortification will have to be completed at a normal rate, meaning it will not be completed until the end of the year. Furthermore, the heralds of the Lord of the Forest of Arden say that if the magic in each of the keystones can be sundered within 30 minutes of each other, that is, if the last ritual is completed within 30 minutes of the first, then their prince will be able to use the arcane energies unleashed to attack the Jotun. If that happens, if all 3 are destroyed together, then the Lord of Despite will be able to unleash an army of wild creatures of the forest into the woods of Liathavan. They will attack any Jotun armies trying to billet there, causing casualties and preventing them resting or resupplying for the next year. This would make it much harder for the Jotun to attack the Empire from Liathavan. Such a feat would be incredibly difficult. The 3 keystones are spread over a wide area, so it would be hard to destroy them all, let alone to coordinate the rituals in such a way. It is not clear if the Empire can manage such a feat, either magically or logistically. However, the Moonsilver Prince stands ready to aid the Empire if they wish to make the attempt. Objective: make use of Broker's Wind. There is a strong spring regio in the area. The Empire could use the regio to cast powerful spring rituals on Liathavan. Surat has offered to destroy the regio and the surrounding forest if the Empire grant him dominion over the regio. There is a strong spring regio in the area nearby called the Circle of Unending Growth. If this locus can be located, then it can be used by the Empire to draw the power of the Spring Realm into Liathavan, spreading magic across the territory in ways not possible from Anvil. There are a number of powerful rituals that could be cast here that are not possible at Anvil, such as the Dance of Navaran Thorn. The longer the Empire could hold the regio, the more rituals they could cast. By sheer good fortune, or much more likely a twist of fate, there is a conjunction to Kay's Lament on the Friday evening of the solstice. A pair of Navari Vates discovered an ancient artifact whilst in the depths of the Valorn Heart, but perished before they could return. Reports indicate that this item is linked to a Tarunial version of Thunderous Tread, and possesses sufficient power to reduce the magnitude, making casting the ritual much easier to undertake. Thunderous Tread of the Trees is a powerful spring curse that would disrupt the Jotun forces across the territory. It is not as powerful or as selected as the aid offered by the Moon Prince, but some of the effects are similar. The curse would attack every army and fortification present in Liathavan for a year. However, the effects would not be selective. Any Imperial force present would also be harmed, whereas the Moon Prince assures the Empire that his forces will attack only the Jotun. In theory, there is no reason why both effects could not be in place at the same time. The Empire could curse the territory with spring magic, and the Moon Prince's forces could harry the Jotun at every turn. Finally, heralds of Surat of the thrice-cursed court have approached the Navarre egregore. The burned warriors, clad in scorched plate and the remnants of singed tabards, come with a request from their liege. Surat has once again extended his offer to cleanse a region of Liathaven with his power. The emissaries ask that once the Navarre have completed their own agenda in Broker's Wind, the Spring Regio should be gifted to Surat. A short ceremony and pronouncement granting dominion to the burnt steward would suffice. If that happens, he will unleash a deep ruby-red incandescence on the forests of Liaven's Glen, burning the region in magical flames. Following this action, the region would gain the burnt quality, leaving little there but thick grey ash. Objective: kill Igja Olgafsdottir. As well as being a capable warrior, Igja Olgafsdottir is the Jotun's most skilled architect, known by the Empire for her work creating vast fortifications in Semasuak. Although the Empire was able to capture these monuments, there is no doubt that Igja and the artisans and craftspeople who march with her are a potent threat. She is here overseeing the works at Broker's Wind, providing the Empire with an opportunity to kill her if she can be found during the battle. Given her high standing in the Jotun, there is no doubt that the Jarls on the field will do what they can to ensure she is well protected and kept away from the front lines. The boons that Cathan Kane has provided have been given to Igja personally, not the Jotun. Killing this favourite of the Mistress of Blizzards would render the magic of the stones null and void. The fortification could still be built. The Jotun have many skilled architects and builders, but it would take a year like any normal commission. What is more, without Igya's skill and vision, the Jotun won't benefit from any further opportunities to exceed the normal limits of fortification construction for at least a year. Gift of the Forest. Conjunction. Gwendolin's sixth step uncovered the location of a potent boon in Brokeliand. There is at least one massive Valorn monstrosity in the area. The Knight Protector of Spring is responsible for recovering the Taricint Naforija. Gwendolin's sixth step, with her brother Thadwin, was part of the recent expedition into Brokeliand. After being split up from the rest of her striding, she found herself in a place of relative quiet amongst the chaos of the Valorn. There, with help from her brother, she was able to cast clear lens of the Eternal River and uncover that this place of relative quiet was where Spring Ritualist, carrying a potent boon, had fallen shortly after fleeing the fall of Turuniel. The presence of the siblings drew all manner of Valorn spawn, and Thadwen fell whilst fleeing. Gwendolyn was able to meet back with the rest of the expedition and relay the information of Kay's lament and the potent boon that awaits there. The potent boon, Taricint Naforija, is apparently similar to the Pearls of Manush granted to the Polemarch of Highwatch by Zakalwe. It can be consumed to greatly increase the amount of power a Spring Ritualist can contribute to a casting of Thunderous Tread of the Trees. There will be a stiff resistance from Valorn spawn here, husks and other creatures that make their home deep in the fecund miasma. Given that this represents a significant danger relating to the realm of Spring, the responsibility for this conjunction lies with the Knight Protector of Spring, Jasper Hunter Scion de Beaumont. The Encroaching Wetlands. Battle. Bragersland teeters under the control of Matilda Fisher, who is slowly securing the wetlands and scattered farmsteads with the help of her Jotun allies. Hidden among the invaders, often in plain sight, the Strong Reeds and House Greywater work tirelessly on acts of sabotage, vandalism and espionage. Information and details on the Fisher's leaders has been surprisingly easy, if risky, to obtain. Thus, news soon arrives that Matilda and her Jotun allies are commencing work east of Ottery, along the Otterway or Oddsway. Warriors and thralls alike have spent recent weeks strengthening the causeway, widening bridges, packing soil stacks, and expanding the road all along the route to the border with Mittwold. What was once a simple raised track and driveway, wide enough to accommodate 4 heads of cattle or 2 passing wagons, is now being made capable of allowing 20 soldiers to move abreast with good speed. A provincial route and vital economic link to Oddmire is being turned into a critical piece of military infrastructure. Completing this work would make it easier for their armies to move to the Mittwold border, pour into Oddmire and lay claim to Odd's End. Once complete, the region would be considered under threat from the Jotun. This would enable the Orcs to invade Mittwold more swiftly, making it easier for them to capture territory there. To make matters more troubling, there is no simple way to prevent construction work along the entire length of the route. It is simply too extensive and passes through many areas of otherwise impassable fenland. Bushel Sykes, or Old Shell Sykes, is a name many locals of Ottermire know and detest. The man is known as a surly and unkind soul, quick to anger and quicker to spit vitriol at those who cross his path. Children joke and describe all manner of mischief to him, from throwing stones through windows and leaving meadow gates open, to drowning cats in sacks and souring the tavern's cider with unsavoury winter magics. Despite his reputation, the man is ascribed some respect when it comes to the drains, mires and sluices east of Ottery. His family line goes far back into the distant past of the territory, and it is said the dark waters of the fenlands runs in his veins. It is for this reason that Matilda Fisher has sought out his expertise, and Shell has thrown in his lot with the old cousins. There is a major conjunction that will lead to Sot's Owle in Ottermire on the Sunday of the winter solstice. Objective: rouse Old Majorum. Use rough music to rouse the ancient marshwalker of Sot's Owle. Success will prevent the Jotun moving armies along the causeway into Mittwold. Local folklore tells tales that Sot's Owle was the deepest, darkest part of the Bregas marshes when the first marchers arrived here from dawn. The area was plagued by marshlings, and many of the first villages were obliterated when massive marshwalker colonies formed in the area. It wasn't until the end of the 1st century of the Empire that their threat was diminished, and the area could thrive following successive campaigns to reduce the colonies. The creatures still inhabit the dank fens to this day, but they have long been quiescent, rumoured to have happened following a ritual conducted by the Calavesi during the reign of Empress Teleri. Lil Sykes, a scion of Old Shell and a loyal citizen of the Empire, has been in contact with House Greywater, revealing the treason of her relative and suggesting a plan to thwart the Jotun that have invaded her home. She has offered to lead her real Marcher family to an area where marshlings are still known to inhabit. This area was once threatened by a monstrous marshwalker that was known as Old Marjoram in local legend. Lil Sykes speaks of how the Bregas folk of the area have long held against the otherwise common marcher tradition of rough music. According to tales passed down to her from her grandmammy, that no wise head from Sot should go out banging their pans or rattling a rake lest old Marge return. The prognosticators confirm that if the Empire could get to Sot's Owle and make enough rough music, then the scattered remnants of the marshwalker colonies would be roused. Old Marjoram would reform and begin to reap mayhem and destruction against the causeway. Everyone will need to pull back once that happens, as a marshwalker will attack anyone nearby. But the causeway will be quickly destroyed by the assault, and the Jotun would be forced to make other plans to attack Mittwold. Rousing Old Marge may create problems for the future. The creature is likely to become quiescent again eventually, but it could take some persuading to go back to sleep. But it will be a significant nuisance for whoever is running Bregasland until it does, and it will certainly be enough to put paid to the causeway. Objective: arrest Bushel Sykes. Capture Bushel Sykes and bring him back to Anvil for justice. Bushel and his fellow beaters can be found near the Oath Stone, a small consecrated shrine. Bringing this traitor to Anvil will send a clear message to those considering siding with Matilda Fisher. As a collaborator with the Jotun, Shell poses a threat to the Empire's war goals, but he is also a traitor in the eyes of many marchers. Him and a few of his fellow beaters will be found near the Oathstone, a local spot that is kept consecrated by Bushell and his household. The Sykes considers the area to be their land, so he won't be easily persuaded to move from there even in the face of an incipient attack. For all his treachery, Shell is still a marcher, so he could be incapacitated and brought back through the Sentinel Gate to face justice. If that happens, if he is caught and every marcher knows he was strung up for his crimes, then it will send a clear message to everyone in Breakersland who is on the fence about siding with the Fishers. It won't undo the damage that has already been done, but giving this turncoat his just deserts would stop the rot for a season or two. If he can't be captured, then killing him on the battlefield might be the next best thing, but a death in battle won't have the same impact as a trial and an execution. It would still be useful, however. The old poacher has more than a half-century's knowledge of the marshes. He knows the eastern half of Breakersland like the back of his hand. Without Shell, the Jotun and the Fishers would be denied wise counsel in matters relating to the marshes of Breakersland, making it harder for them to exploit the terrain in the coming seasons.